Mother's Day, especially on Mama. And she came to my heart immediately, come to my mind, and so I called Brother McCall and I asked, I said, does she ever speak at things? Does she ever preach? I bet she could. I felt like she could. And so I just felt impressed to have her. She doesn't claim to be a preacher or even speaker or anything like that, but I know that she's anointed and know that God is with her and she's got a beautiful spirit, and so I know that we're going to be blessed today. So at this time I want her to come, and as she's coming, let's just give God glory and praise in this house and let him know we want all that you have for us today.
He's got this big Bible desk and all my stuff out here. He asked me to speak, and I'm very honored, Brother Mock. But I'm very honored, and if this don't go over very good, you all blame your pastor. One day I was getting ready to speak at a mother's daughter banquet. Y'all can sit. Y'all can sit. I was getting ready to speak at a mother's daughter banquet over in Missouri. And I was stewing and fretting, and I told Brother McCall, I said, I have 9 pages of notes, and it took me less than 10 minutes to read it. I said, what am I going to do? He said, now you know how I feel? I said, baby, I said, you ain't never had 9 pages of notes to preach less than 10 minutes. But anyway, I am very honored to be here today, and I hope that some way, somehow, that I can bless someone. You know, I'm nothing. All I am is a Sunday school teacher. I can teach these little ones, but all you big ones out there, I don't know. But I'm going to do my best. I prayed and I studied and I prayed and I prayed and I studied, and I tried to get some hints from Brother McCall, but he said I was on my own. Sister Julie tried to call me or talk to me and wanted my notes, and I said, I probably need your notes, but you know what, I'm just going to obey God and do whatever I feel. Have any of y'all ever seen a book like this? Maybe I can get on your all's level too. There's a story that smote my heart, and it's called, Are You My Mother? And I'm going to read it to you. A mother bird sat on her egg. The egg jumped. Oh, oh, said the mother bird. My baby will be here. He will want to eat. I must get something for my baby bird to eat, she said. He will soon be here, so she went away. The egg jumped. It jumped and jumped and jumped. Out came the baby bird. Where is my mother? He said. He looked for her. He looked up, and he did not see her. He looked down, and he did not see her. I will go and look for her, he said. So he went. Down, out of the tree he went. Down, down, down. It was a long way down. The baby bird could not fly. He could not fly, but he could walk. Now I will go and find my mother, he said. He did not know what his mother looked like. He went right by her, and he did not see her. He came to a kitten. Are you my mother? He said to the kitten. The kitten just looked and looked and did not say a thing. The kitten was not his mother, sweetheart. Then he came to a hen. Are you my mother? He said to the hen. No, said the hen. The kitten was not his mother. The hen was not his mother. So the baby bird went on. I have to find my mother, he said. But where? Where is she? Where could she be? Then he came to a dog. Are you my mother? He said to the dog. I am not your mother, said the dog. The kitten was not his mother, the hen was not his mother, and the dog was not his mother. So the baby bird went on. Now he came to a cow. Are you my mother? He said to the cow. How could I be your mother? Said the cow. I am a cow. The kitten, the hen were not his mother. The dog and the cow was was not his mother. Did he have a mother? I did have a mother, said the baby bird. I know I did. I have to find her. I will, I will. Now the baby bird did not walk, he ran. Then he saw a car. Could that old thing be my mother? No, it could not be. The baby bird did not stop. He ran on and on. Now he looked way, way down and he saw a boat. There she is, said the baby bird. He called to the boat, but the boat did not stop. The boat went on. He looked way, way up and he saw a big plane. Here I am, mother, he called out. But the plane did not stop. The plane went on. Just then the baby bird saw a big thing. This must be my mother. There is my mother, he said. There is my mother. He ran right up to it. Mother, mother. Here I am, mother, he said to the big thing. The big thing just said snort. Oh, you are not my mother, said the baby bird. You are a snort. I have to get out of here. The baby bird could not get away. The snort went up. It went up, way, way up. And it went up, up, up. The baby bird. But now, where was the snort going? Oh, oh, oh. What is this snort going to do to me? I must get out of here. Just then the snort came to a stop. Where am I? Said the baby bird. I want to go home. I want my mother. Then something happened. The snort put the baby bird right back in the tree. The baby bird was home. Just then the mother bird came back to the tree. Do you know who I am? She said to her baby. Yes, I know who you are, said the baby bird. You are not a kitten. You are not a hen. You are not a dog. You are not a cow. You are not a boat or a plane or a snort. You are a bird, and you are my mother. My thought today is, are you my mother? In 1 Kings, the 3rd chapter, verse number 16 through 27. Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass in the 3rd day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together, and there were no strangers with us in the house, save the 2 in the house. And the woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight, and took the son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and lay it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And she said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, The one saith that is my son that liveth, and thy son that is dead. And the other say, Nay, but thy son is dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And thou brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in 2, and give half to one, and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided. You may be seated. The love of a true mother would rather that her son live than be divided in 2. But the heartless mother would rather the child be killed. And only the wisdom of Solomon saved the child's life. You know, there's times that we have people that comes into our congregation, and they leave. And sometimes there's people who would rather see them leave in a condition because of the heartlessness of a mother. In the first chapter of Samuel, Hannah wanted a baby so bad. Year after year, she went into the city and she offered sacrifice and worship. She wept with such desperation that even the priest thought she was drunk. In Samuel 1:20, God gave Hannah a son, and she called his name Samuel, because she asked of him of the Lord. And after he was weaned, she took him to the temple, so that he may appear before the Lord forever. Many times the church is referred to as our mother, and we, like Hannah, ask God for babies. We take what he gives us. Sometimes, we might not get what we want. Sometimes we ask God for a boy child and he gives us a girl. But there's times that we can just be thankful what he gives us. That's just the way life is. And when God brings us saints in, sometimes it might not be the doctors and the lawyers. Sometimes it might be those that are less fortunate. But the greatest joy in a mother's heart is when she looks into the face of her newborn child. It does not matter what anyone else thinks. That child can be the ugliest little cold-head baby there ever was. But in that mother's eyes, that is going to be the most beautiful baby. You know why? Because it belongs to her. And as a mother of a church, I pray like Hannah prays. I pray for babies. I don't care what they look like, and I don't care where sin has taken them. Because I know that with the loving mother of the church, that we can see their lives changed. In Genesis, Adam called his wife Eve because she was the mother of all living things. And when a baby girl is born, it's in her nature to be a mother at a very young age. A lot of you that have baby girls, I know Brother Mock can know what I'm talking about. That baby girl, she's going to be a mother. She has that baby doll, and she's going to give it a bottle. She's going to change its clothes. She's going to wrap it in a blanket, and she's going to hold it close. You know why? Because it's in her to be a mother. And if we, the church, could treat our babies the same way as a little girl does her doll, just taking them in our arms and loving them and leading them to God. But there are times that we, the mother, we want to tell God who to send us. We want to be like that little girl that goes in the store. She gets to choose her baby doll. But us as a church, we can't choose and pick who God sends us. We have to be content with whoever God sends us. I'll never forget, I'll tell this story, I'll never forget one time our granddaughter was very small. And she had a monkey. And it was a big, huge monkey, about as big as she was. And his name was George. And she loved this monkey. George had clothes, bottles, diapers, blankies, passies, anything you can imagine a real baby would have, George had it. George even had a diaper bag and a car seat. We never went anywhere without George. One day we went to Walmart. No way was Alexis leaving George in the car. So we took George in, we strapped him in a car, in the buggy. And somewhere along the way, me and Alexis got separated from Papa. And along comes this lady. She walks up to Brother McCall and she said, "Oh, I see the resemblance." But never again did that happen. But oh, it's in the little girl to be a mother. She loved that monkey. Living out on the farm, we had some cattle. And I was a city girl, even though I was raised in a little small town. I was kind of a city girl. But I so enjoyed helping Brother McCall with our cattle. Well, we bought this cow, and needless to say, she had a calf. And we didn't know she's going to have a calf. We just knew she was getting fat. We thought it was because of the good hay and the good grass it was feeding her. And one day, Brother McCall had come home from work and got the binoculars and looked up all the way up on the pasture, and lo and behold, Rosie had a calf out there. So the next day he went to work and he wanted me to go check on this calf. I looked and looked and looked, and I could not find this calf anywhere. For 2 hours I had briars stuck in my hair and everywhere looking for this calf, and I was bawling my eyes out. I called Brother McCall and I said, a coyote has got our calf. I said, this calf is nowhere to be found. But I didn't know that it is in a mama cow's, that's their nature. She would make this deep rumbling in her voice, and that calf would hide itself. But anyway, I had locked her in the corral while I was looking for the calf because I didn't want her to get me. So 2 hours later, I turned her loose. Immediately, she went straight to where this calf, and I'd walked within feet of this calf and could not find it. And as soon as she made that grumbling in her throat, that baby calf rose and come and started sucking. But it's in a mother, even in animals. God put that in that cow to know when to protect that calf. Even though I was no harm to that calf, but she knew where to hide that calf that she would know. And also we had this cat that had 3 kittens that somebody was supposed to take, but they didn't take these kittens. So, in the meantime, we'd never named them. We just had cats. Well, needless to say, these cats grew up, and guess what? We had some more cats. But I called them G1, G2, and G3 for girl 1, girl 2, and girl 3. And 2 of them had 4 babies, and 1 of them had 5. Well, G2 got killed, and she's the one that had 5 baby kittens. And I just knew that these kittens would die because they could not survive without their mama. One day I went outside and there was G3 laying on the sidewalk. She had 9 baby kittens sucking. Them kittens didn't matter that wasn't their mama, and it did not matter to G3 that them were not her babies, because it was in her nature to be a mama. And she let 9 baby kittens suck on her until they got grown, and that was so amazing to me, because usually animals won't accept other, but the nature in her, the mother instinct in her, it was to take care of her. Eve was the mother of all living things. Sarah was the mother of nations. In Genesis, God said to Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her Sarai no more, but Sarah shall be her name. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. And it wasn't until Sarah's own age that she learned to put her trust and faith in God. Because she didn't believe what God had told her in Abraham. A child by the name of Ishmael suffered because she did not have the faith in God, that God was going to give her a son, and she rushed things. If we, the mother, try to get ahead of God and don't put our faith and trust in God and our pastor, sometimes people get hurt because we want things now our way. We can't see what God sees, and we can't see what our man of God sees. It's our responsibility as a mother to be an example. Young children are easily led. There's something in them that they want to please. In Proverbs, it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. That don't mean that they won't walk away from God, but if you put it in them, they're not going to forget it. And I know this verse is talking about children. It's not talking about the mother of the church. When we pastored in Oklahoma, one day I got a phone call from this very young child I would say that he was probably 6 or 7 years old. And he asked me if I could come and get him and his mommy and bring them to church. This little boy's name was Wayne. And so I said, sure. And he was smart enough, he gave me his address. And I told him what time I would be there, and they were waiting on me. For months and months and months, I picked up this severely handicapped woman and her little child and brought them to Sunday school. This little boy was so uncontrollable that his mother could do nothing with him. But I would get him, I always sit on the front seat. Every time we pastor, I always sit on the front seat. And I would get this child, we had pews that had cushions in them that were not attached. One time I looked back there and he had that big old cushion up and he was beating the people in front of him over the head. But you know what? I had such a love and compassion for this child. I got him and I'd make him sit beside me. You know, I don't know where he is today. But you know, I pray that I put something in him. As the mother church, as a Sunday school teacher. I don't know, he's I'm sure a teenager, getting on up there now. But I pray that he will always remember his help comes from a Pentecostal church. There's people in a Pentecostal church that will love me. And I pray that he always remembers there was a lady that loved him no matter how bad he was in church, that I loved him. A mother is like a beautiful carving stick. You might not need her with every step, but she provides a welcome support on the days when your steps are a little uncertain. Your mother will always be there for you. Even living for God 40 and a half years that I've had the Holy Ghost, I know that my strength comes from God. There's time that people come in our congregation and our church is like a beautiful walking stick. We're there to help, to lead and to guide. There's times there's probably in people's lives they think they don't need God with every step, but if they could only realize that they do need God. They need that walking stick. They need the church. We need them. I need the church. The church isn't just for the lost and the sinner, but it's for every last one of us. Mother is the greatest calling for a woman. In Proverbs 31 it says, her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, he praiseth her. I am a blessed woman. Not because of material things, but because of the spiritual things I have. And I want to leave a legacy for my children, my grandchildren, and for my church, and for my friends. I am truly a blessed woman, not with material things, but with the spiritual things that God has bestowed upon me. In training your precious children, they will follow after mom and daddy. If you talk about the preacher, then children are not going to have any confidence in their man of God. They will follow wherever you lead them. If you lead them in prayer, they're going to know how to pray. You lead them in worship, they're going to know how to worship. You pray with your children before you put them to bed at night. My grandchildren, there is times I call my 16-year-old granddaughter and she puts on speakerphone, and do you know what I do to the children that live 1,100 miles from me? We have bedtime prayer. I've taught my children to pray with their babies before they put them to bed. Don't just tell them to go to bed. My son and daughter-in-law has a little 2-year-old, and I tell them, pray. Put prayer in his life where he knows where his help comes from. There are those who travel with us, sharing our personal journey, reveling in our private growth. They are much more than a friend. They are a mother. Mothers walk with us every step of the way. And as a church, we have seen some that has come in and we've walked every step. We've cried every tear that they have cried. My mother left me a Pentecostal heritage. No greater heritage can you leave behind. As a mother and a grandmother, I have personal items that I will leave behind to my loved ones. But nothing compares to the heritage, my Christian heritage. What are you leaving behind for your children? What are you leaving behind for your grandchildren? Pass your heritage on to the next generation. In Psalm 71, now also I am old and of gray-headed. O God, forsake me not, until I have shown thee strength unto this generation, and thy power to every one that is to come. My prayer is not just that church people can see God in me, but everywhere I go. If I go to a restaurant, I go to Walmart, wherever I go, I want them to see God in me, that they know their help can come from God. In 2 Kings, Jehu goes on a godly killing spree, exterminating all of the Baal worshippers. When Athaliah hears that her sons have been killed, she goes on a rampage, killing all the seed royals, all but a little baby boy by the name of Joash. His aunt hides him in the house of God. He was hid for 6 years, and when he was 7, he became king. No better place to hide your children than in the house of God.
That's right, that's right.
Athaliah was so far from God that it did not even dawn on her to look in the house of God. The house of God will protect your children. Parents, protect your children from Grandma Athaliah. She's just out there to kill, to destroy your children. The spirit of Athaliah is everywhere, but I've refused to let her have my children or grandchildren. I refuse to let her have the youth of our church. In Job 39, verse 13, givest thou goodly wings unto a peacock, or the wings and feathers of an ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth, and warm them in the dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not her own. Her labor is in vain without fear. An ostrich will lay her eggs on the ground. She'll leave them. She'll forsake them. She will abandon them. At times, she becomes aggressive toward her young ones, all because of her own pleasure. Most of the time, the eggs are not even covered good enough, and they are destroyed by wild animals. If humans walk close to the nest, the mother ostrich will trample the eggs. You know why? Because she's a cruel mother. She doesn't care about her young. And chicks that often survive are frequently treated as an outcast. Ostriches live in a family group. The dominating hen will kick out the other eggs that are not hers. A very small percentage of eggs ever hatch. She has hardened her heart against her young as though they were not her own. So her labor is in vain. You know, there's times, even as saints of God, sometimes, if we're not right, we can harden our heart. And there's people that leave our congregations because they have been hurt. They have been wounded. The words that you speak says a lot.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
My granddaughter goes to a church, and her very best friend one day, only child, walked out of the house of God and moved in with a man. Been raised in church all of her life. And Alexis asked her, why, Shaylee, why did you do this? And she said because in the youth group, she felt like that she was all alone, that she had no friends. And people, the young people would say hateful things, saying it teasingly. Be careful what your words are. Be careful how you speak them. Because you don't know what the person next to you is going through. They might have a smile on their face, but they can be going through the hardest time of their life. And all it takes is something so small that you think you're joking to cut their